Most traders struggle with gold, NAS100 and US oil because they treat every time frame like a separate puzzle, leading to analysis paralysis and blowing accounts. Today, I am going to be revealing the exact multi-time frame blueprint I used to scale into massive positions with surgical precision and stop guessing and start dominating the 2026 energy and the stock market. Without wasting much of your time, so let's dive into it.
Welcome to the JoedaveFx. This is the channel where we share weekly insights on Forex, crypto, as well as the stock market. Click on the notification bell and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our updates like this.
Welcome inside of my screen. In today's video, we're going to be analyzing gold, and I'm going to be using the multi-time frame analysis strategy and show you exactly how I used to approach the market, trading gold, US oil, as well the NAS100. So starting with the gold first, right here in front of me. So I'm going to start from the daily time frames. So looking at this on the very daily time frame, you could actually see that looking at this black line here, we are actually rejecting from a minor level. So that's the first thing you need to recognize when you're trading. Understand where your major levels are and your minor levels. So if you look at this very top here, this is my key zone here, and price rejected here, which we saw market from here 2 weeks ago. Now zooming out, looking at this very black zone here, this is where I'm going to start from the daily time frame. You could actually see that presently market tried to push back above this zone, and now it's kind of rejecting back below it. Now we've seen this, that okay, we are on a minor level, but price is trading on this very zone at a very particular time. Now I'm going to go straight to the 4H time frame, and looking at this on the 4H time frame, I could actually see on the 4H that probably gold will trade back to somewhere here, mitigated other block here. Now the other block is not obvious here on the 4H time frame. Maybe if you go lower in time frame, you could be able to see the other block. Currently this market is rejecting that, but probably still looking at this last other block that is sitting here that push market all the way up here. You see, it was the last black candle after this minor retracement. And if you actually know this pattern, right, this is the buying continuation pattern. You're going to have your first bullish candle, then we have a 3 red candle inside, then another bullish candle now closing above this zone. So probably what price is tends to come and do is probably come and retest this last other block that was left and move. If you analyze further, we are going to know exactly where gold is going to next. And one thing you have to notice when you're analyzing gold, you need to understand that gold respects price action a lot. So looking at this, there is a channel playing right here. So we have this kind of channel playing right here. We had the top here, we rejected from this very top here, and now we are coming to the bottom. So this can be another point where gold might reverse, touching this channel here, at the same time touching this other block we talked about, and now move to the upside. And from here we can now finally break out. When it comes to channel trading, we do have three major touches at the upside before we look for that breakout. We have the first one here, second one here. Probably price might still come back for this touch one and before the breakout, but we can't really say gold might just do these two touches and break out. But let's continue analyzing this pair. So looking at this on the 3H time frame, we actually see this was the same order block I marked on the 4H time frame. We still have that same order block here, right here on the 3H time frame. And if you look at this 3H time frame structure right from this point, you will see that this is a low, we have a high. So breaking above this low here, now this form of a pullback may now likely put in another high, right? So that's the first thing I'm seeing on this 3H time frame. And if you actually check your Fibonacci 2 as well, using the Fibonacci, this is the last low, and this is the high where market starts rejecting from. So if I extend it here, price is now back inside of the golden zone, and probably this price might just enter into this OTE zone. You can see this is where this zone I marked on the 4H time frame is that other block. So probably price might just enter into this OTE zone. But how do we want to approach this market? Currently, gold is officially bearish. Looking at this structure, and you can see this pattern we have here is some form of similar something we had here. So gold is very, very bearish, but looking at this structure, I'm expecting some form of a very deep pullback on gold before we actually continue selling further. But if the pullback does not happen, then I'm going to be showing you how you can actually approach it if that pullback did not still happen. So the pullback I'm talking about, which I'm looking for gold on, is likely I'm expecting price to come back to this area here inside of this zone, touching this channel we also had here. Now if I show you this channel, is obvious on the 4H time frame, so let's go back to the 4H. So we could actually see this is from a trend line that is pushing market to the downside. We have the very first touch here, this is the second touch in line with this very key level here, and probably I'm expecting price to push down here for the third touch. And you know the third touch is always the case when price is going to dump massively. Once we can have that, and price is going to push all the way down here. Now let me off this indicator so we could able to see everything I'm explaining. Okay, so looking at this is what I'm expecting on gold. Now if I clear this one as well, I delete this one, we can see that we are very close to this other block and also very close to the bottom of this channel here. So probably I'm expecting price to touch here and shoot all the way high. And probably if this price depend on the speed of this, how this price want to move. So if you are consolidating here, what you want to look for is you want to wait for your lower time frame shift, maybe on the 15 minutes time frame. So once you get this, then you can go for a longing opportunity. Price is going to pull back like this, then you can start buying from there, and probably price reach here. We have same pattern again, and what? Then we start dumping from there. So probably you might see some form of a double top inside of this zone here. Yes, some form of a double top once price come here. So some form of the first one is not going to touch it. Then the second top is not going to be the one to touch this channel we have there, this very trend line. And this is going to be the break of structure you wait for. So once you have that break of structure, wait for price to pull back. And this is where you want to enter the market and your stop loss just above this place. And what you want to target now, targeting this time around, I have about 3,008 here, and we have around 3,700 at this very bottom. If I also explain this thing further to you as well, so if you actually look at this very structure we had here, this is a high, this is a drop, right? We have another pullback. Now, if you look at from this very high to this drop here, if you use your Fibonacci tools, right, from this very high all the way to this bottom here, you will see that price push back into the Fibonacci golden zone in line with this place, and we also have a trend line there. So that's like three conferences telling you that this price want to push down. Same thing I'm expecting at this very bottom here too as well. From this very place, this is the high here now, and this is the low where we start seeing the pullback. So putting like this, if you look at this zone I marked out as well, so you can actually see that we have the Fibonacci golden zone lining up perfectly in that place. We also have this support zone here too as well, sitting here, and as well this trend line. So it's just like similar thing that happened here, same thing we had at this very point here. Price want to repeat the same thing here, and if you can have that, I can tell you for a fact this market is going to dump massively. Now the first level target remain at the very obvious low where price reacted from, which is sitting on about 3,009, and the second level target you want to go for is the Fibonacci extension, which is sitting on about 3,840. So once you take these two targets, then you can now start saying you want to go for this next one, which is my green bar I marked here. Going back to the daily time frame, let me show you something on the very daily time frame. So if you look at this on the daily time frame, you can actually see our price is putting a high, a low, a high, a low. We have a high. Now we've broken this structure again. This is a low. Probably we are expecting for a pullback. Following this 4-hour structure here, then we want to go more shorter. So if price continue moving here, the overall target which I'm still targeting is this was the consolidation we have in 2025. We'll break out of it in July, and since we break out of this place, right, price moves up massively. So what I'm expecting is I'm expecting this market to dump all the way back to this bottom to retest this area. Then we can now start looking for more longing opportunity on gold, and this is sitting on about 3,400. But if the market now change structure, then we start looking for another thing depending on what the market is telling us at that very particular moment. So this is what I have on gold, and this is what I am seeing on gold. Now let's go to the second pair, which is the US oil. So on US oil, you guys know I've been talking about this US oil for a period of time now. We talked about this chart when it was somewhere here. I talked about this coffee here, and this looked like a reversal pattern to me, and at that point price was somewhere here, and I talked about that this pair is going to continue selling. And I could remember in the video, if you go and watch the video, so the last time I analyzed this US oil, if you watch the video, we have this pair sit. I draw out this zone, and I talked about it in that video that at that very particular time price was somewhere here approaching this zone. I talked about that the highest point I'm seeing this time around, I'm seeing this price coming to break this zone, and what is going to happen is price is going to touch it, react a little bit up, and now we're going to have the breakout. And that was exactly what happened, and we had a very nice sell position around this very point, because you could see price come back to this other block, mitigated this other block, had a very nice position, and we had a sell took all the way down to this low. I talked about in the video that first level target is going to be this low, and this is where I'm taking my profit. And if price is able to break below this low, then I'm going to be looking for more trading opportunity. And if I just put this my target line here, you could see that ideally would break below the low. And now today, what I'm expecting on US oil, now I'm going to start the analysis all over again, starting all over. Now I'm going to go back to the daily time frame. So looking at this on the daily time frame, this was the zone where price broke out very neat, and we pushed down aggressively. And this was the target zone I talked about, which is also a minor level. And from this minor level, what you could actually see that was we had price broken below it, and probably some form of a retest point leave us with another block there. So you can see this other block sitting right here on the daily time frame. But if I go to the 4H time frame, we have another block which is very obvious, which I'm expecting this price to come back into this retracement period, come back into this place. And overall target for this very particular US oil trade is still sitting around somewhere here, and this is going to be around 6,500 barrier. So once US oil hit this zone, and right from this zone, then you can now start anticipating for what US oil want to do next. Now, how do I come to this analysis? Very simple. So we had this other block here. You can see this zone here. This is a very clean other block on the weekly time frame. Going back to the weekly time frame, so you can see this is the other block I'm still expecting this price to dump into, and which price is kind of approaching the zone at the moment. Apart from that other block, if you look at this very pair here, right, looking at this very, you'll see that we have some form of a downtrend here. This channel pushing this price down, and at this very point we broke out of it. So probably this might be some form of a retest this zone, and we can go more longer. And if we are not able to sustain above this zone, then you might just see US oil continue dumping the more. So we can just see US oil tanking all the way to the downside. So this is what I have on US oil, and this is how I approach the market using my multi-time frame analysis. Now I've shown you what the daily time frame is saying as well as the weekly time frame. So now let's go to the 4H time frame. That is when we now start looking for our trading opportunities. So looking at this on the 4H time frame, so I talked about this, that this is the other block here on the 4H time frame, which I say if you come to the 4H, you get to the other block. So I'm expecting this price to push back here before I am space for more sell, and taking down all the way to this point. And looking at this on the 4H time frame, so we already have a sweep chip below this low, which is a liquidity as well. And we also have some form of a CRT here. So you can see it cleared this low of this guy. Now we tank down and we are moving up. So expecting this guy to move back all the way up here. Probably I might not be taking this buy, but if I see a very clean setup, I might take it. So and how I'm going to be taking this buy is if we break above this place back here and price is going to retrace a little bit, and I can just have my entry somewhere here and continue approaching till we get to the zone. And at this very point, this is where I'm going to be looking for my selling opportunity on US oil. And I'm going to be selling right from this point back all the way to the zone we had at this very bottom. So this is what I have for US oil. So it's a very clean analysis, and US oil is actually very simple to trade. It's not like other pair that is mostly complicated. So if you actually look at what is happening here, you could see similar thing here, right? And what you see that, so still expecting the guys to push up back to this one before we sell further. So which is the minor zone. This weeks here I showed you on the higher time frame from the daily time frame perspective. So this is what I have for US. So US is very simple to trade, not complicated as well. If you actually look at this pair too as well, pair is also trading inside of this channel. We had a touch here, we push back up here, and now we push it up here. So we had about 2 touches here, and the final touch for this guy is when it gets to this zone. So this is going to be second touch here as well as the second touch here. So following what we are having here, and so we had, this is the touch at the upside, we have one, and we had the second touch at this very point. So now this is about 3 touches in 1 point. So this one actually mean 1 touch to me. So we had another one here. So probably coming to put the second touch for this guy at this very point here, which is going to line perfectly with the zone we talked about here. This is for US oil, and this is how you want to actually approach US oil. Now going straight to NAS100. Okay, coming straight to NAS100 here, just like I talked about this in the very last video. We talked about this break of structure we had here, which price pushed up, and I talked about it that we had this change of character here. So following this change of character with my market structure shift, we expected this pullback here and expecting price to sell somewhere here. And at that very particular time for the weekend, we have some form of a sell here. And when the price opened that following Monday, I told my community to close that sell and wait for the confirmation, because you know when the new week opens, my price will kind of push up a little bit and give confirmation. I was able to get in back for the sell was when price come above this, I swept it and created this massive dump red candle. After this red candle, now I just go straight to the 3H time frame. So on the 3H time frame, I could see this very last order block price left here. So I just mark out this other block, the low of it like this, and probably I had my sell on it here. And stop loss was just above this other block here. I was targeting all the way to this low here, which is the low we talked about in the video. See, expecting price to come and take out this low. And presently, what I'm looking for this week is still same bias. So what I'm just expecting is kind of expecting market to push back to this place, touch this channel, and this is going to be in line with this other block that's sitting right here, and we're just going to be selling right from here, and now we're going to have our target all the way back here. So this is for NAS100, and this is how I'll be approaching NAS100. So probably at the moment, still waiting for some form of a pullback into this place, then get my confirmation, then sell it again and take it all the way to this bottom. So that is for NAS100. And as well, you can see this guy is reacting from this very other block here. So we have this, I just put out this very nice other block, and I can see it's reacting from it, and which is as well is also in line with the second touch of this channel here. We had the first touch here, I mean this second touch, and this is the third touch. So now we are pushing back up here to give the second touch for the upper part. And once we get here, I'm expecting price to touch it, and now back to this bottom of this place. So this is what I'm expecting on NAS100, nothing much. And you can actually use, no matter the time frame you want to use, your 30 minutes time frame, your 15 minutes time frame. So once what you're going to do is wait till you get your confirmation. Now, for example, looking at this very chart here, right? What I used to get in on this very trade is what we call the CISD entry model. And how this works is, you can see this is on the 30 minutes time frame. This is actually a bullish structure pushing market all the way to the upside. And all of a sudden, there's 2 massive red candles engulfing almost 5 or 7 candles. Right after having that, what you tend to wait for next is the last order block that was created before we break that place. This consolidation period, the last order block that was there, just put a straight line right there, and it's right on that other block you want to have your entry. And that was how I'll get this entry, and just put my stop loss above this place here, this very region. So which I just put my stop loss above this very region, which you saw on the 3H time frame. So this is how I just approach this market, and this is how you can as well approach this market on the weekly basis. First thing is you want to know what you're looking for that week. So apparently what I'm still looking for on this pair is a shorting opportunity, but I know there's some form of retracement. You can see this very massive dump here. All right, this very massive, very clean dump. So after this clean dump, we have a very crazy pump consolidation, we have a very crazy dump. Now almost equal load, and now we take the liquidity. So expecting price to pull back to this other block here, give a confirmation, and once you get a confirmation here, we start selling right from here, and we are selling all the way down back to this point, which I talked about in my previous video, that my overall target for the XY is still this zone here. So we talked about it in the last video. So we actually had this some form of a consolidation here. Now broke out of it, pump massively, and I'm expecting price to come and retest this thing, even if this price want to continue in a bullish move. So still expecting this market to dump back to somewhere here like this. So back here, and once we get confirmation here, then we can now look for long opportunity and start going higher. All right. So, but at the start of the moment, price need to come back to this zone here to retest this same zone here, and which is going to fall perfectly in line with my Fibonacci zone. So you can see this is in line with the Fibonacci golden zone, and I don't use Fibonacci to joke. Once I can have this, it's going to be very nice. And in that very last video too as well, I talked about this trend line playing right here. So we have this trend line here, which this is the first touch here, the second touch. And by the time price will be pushing down back here, so you can see it very well. So this is going to also be the third touch right here on this zone. So I'm going to have about 3 confidences sitting right here on that zone. And once I can get that, nothing much I'm going to be expecting on NAS100 is now I'm start looking for my buying opportunity, and my overall target for now is going to be this place. My first level target actually is going to be this previous high here, and this is what I'm seeing on NAS100. This is what I'm seeing on NAS100. Nothing much. So still expecting some form of a pullback into here, a third touch into this place, into the Fibonacci golden zone, a third touch on the previous support now is going to become previous resistance, now is going to become support, and as well a third touch on the trend line. So once we add that, now we go long right from here and we take it all the way high. But this is a lot of pips, so you can actually trade this move as it's coming down. You can be trading it, get here, and once you get here, you want to now go for the overall target, the long setup. And this is my analysis for gold, USD, and NAS100. Make sure you like my subscribe button and drop your comments in the comment section. What do you feel about this analysis? What pair do you want me to analyze next? And I promise I'm going to do that. If you are not in my trading community, check the link in the description. Join my Telegram trading community. I used to share the setup with them on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Once I get the confirmation and I want to go long, I share the setup with them. And before then, I catch you in the next. If you are just joining my analysis for the first time,